I got cut out of my family and the life and everything. And then I couldn't even attend his funeral. And that was the hardest point, because someone that you've grown up with, someone that you spend every single weekend with, someone that you speak to every single day, you literally just get cut out like a pair of scissors.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Tuxford and welcome to my podcast, People Behind Brands. Brought to you by Making Websites Better. In each episode, I'm joined by an inspirational guest to hear more about their individual life lessons and how it shaped them into who they are today. To never miss an episode, subscribe to our exclusive content now and follow us on our social media platforms. People Behind Brands, life lessons from the world of business. In this episode, we're joined by Sachin Parmar, founder of Graphic Kitchen, a branding studio shaping hospitality space, as well as his role as a driving force behind Niche by Nisha, a kitchenware product born from his wife Nisha Parmar's journey as a contestant on the BBC hit TV series MasterChef in 2018. Sachin shares his inspiring story of building creative ventures rooted in meaning, love and personal connection. From helping hospitality brands find their voice to bringing a family dream to life in the kitchen. But this episode also takes a deeply personal turn. Sachin opens up about the tragic loss of his cousin to suicide, an event that sent shockwaves for his family and changed him forever. He reflects on grief, strained relationships and what it means to truly show up for the people around us. This is a conversation about creativity, purpose, navigating pain and the legacy we leave, not just through our work, but in how we treat others. Sachin, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thank you. Where are you joining us from today?
Working from home today in the back of my house.
Perfect. So, today we welcome Sachin Parmar, founder and creative director at Graphic Kitchen and Niche by Nisha. I recently met Sachin at the Game Changer 2025 event in London, where we got talking about his career and passion projects. So it was only right that I invited Sachin to sit in the hot seat and give us an insight into his life lessons from the world of business. So Sachin, let's get straight into it. Perhaps firstly, you could tell us a little bit more about Graphic Kitchen and how you've developed the company in that time.
So I saw a niche quite a while ago, and it was in the hospitality sector. Running, like being a creative director and an agency owner and working across all multiples and all different industries, I found that niching and working in a vertical is better, because then you become known for being a specialist in there. So that was always my design, my dreams. And ultimately, I love food. So the fact that I'm working with restaurants and hotels is absolutely perfect, because I get to try everything. I get to meet some interesting people, because hospitality is one of the only industries that's very, very different to every other sector. And that's why I love it so much. But the reason I got into it is pretty much for that reason, is just to be a specialist and become known for the best person to go to when you want to build a brand within the hospitality sector. Our saying is bums on seats and heads in beds.
Okay. So in terms of the sort of services that you're helping when you build these brands, what are your sort of services that you offer?
So I would say one of the most important things that people need in the hospitality sector is bums on seats and heads in bed. So everything else, yes, they know they need to do it in terms of branding and marketing, but ultimately they want to grow their bottom line and get more people to visit. So that's what we specialize in, is how do we basically curate an experience for someone that finds them online to when they go to actually visit the restaurant or hotel, and then they leave a review online and tell all their friends about it.
Yeah. And in terms of your USP, what would you say is your USP compared to, similar types of people that might be working in this industry?
What makes us different and specialists is we come from hospitality. And why do I say that? Because my wife's ex-MasterChef contestant from school of 2018, and she's even been on Saturday Kitchen. She's got a cookbook. But why am I saying that? I'm saying that because we are hospitality. So I understand everything from operations as well as to brand connection. And that's the bit that makes it different, because you would work with somebody that is a really good designer, but they don't really understand the customer experience. And that's what makes us special, is understanding and truly understanding that customer experience and getting, again, I'll say this again, it's bums on seats, because any restaurant or hotel owner I speak to, whether it's the GM or it's the founder, that's what they want, is how do I increase revenue? And ultimately, life is about sales and marketing. In fact, 80% of everything we do is sales and marketing, even to this point where if you want to get that guy or a girl, you need to have your sales pitch ready, because they're not going to have any interest, and you need to give something to them as well. And that's the most important factor. And many business owners forget about that, because you might be a really good designer, but are you good at sales and marketing? And that's the thing that makes us different, because I've been in the industry for 20 years now. So I've been designing and developing brands and websites before the iPhone launched. So I might not look it, but yeah, I'm 44.
Yeah. No, you don't look it. You look younger, if I'm honest, Sachin. But
you know why? Because I got no hair. That's why you can't. Really
You're in the same boat as me, mate.
Yeah.
So in terms of your own career journey so far, I mean, just talk to us about how this led to you fronting, your own businesses.
So I guess it comes down to being a British Asian. In my culture, everybody would go into the kind of the standard kind of well-paid jobs of banker, doctor, lawyer, so on. But I just didn't really enjoy it. I think when I was like 12 years old and I put my first pencil to paper and created my first piece of artwork, I fell in love with that. And it was the love of creation. And it's also about being different, because I didn't want to be put into the same box as everybody else, or every other Asian man or woman that is. And ultimately, for me, it was basically creating my own vision and my own path of greatness.
So another business and project you're involved in is Niche by Nisha. So tell us a bit more about this area of your life and work.
Okay, so this one's quite interesting, right? I've always wanted to create my own product to market, but I just didn't know. And again, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. I even, this is the most fun. In 2006, I thought this idea, right? I thought this idea called, I love my trainers, right? And when I was younger, I used to have so many trainers. To be fair, when I looked at it right now, I was like, I don't think I can even afford that many trainers I had. So I have no idea how I was able to buy it. But I thought this idea of coming out to product is, I thought this thing called crepe. So because I had a baby, I thought, oh, I want to clean my trainers. So I started using the baby wipes to clean my trainers and wipe them down. And I thought, actually, you know what? I'm going to call this crepe protect. So I actually designed everything, but it never hit off. I even had a t-shirt brand. But because I didn't have enough time and focus on there, I couldn't really make that successful. And then now, there's that brand called Correct. So yeah, they're already doing that. And I thought about that ages ago. So that it was just amazing how someone's actually created that idea and done what I thought of as well. So talking about Niche by Nisha, why did I create Niche by Nisha? Look, I specialize in hospitality, right? As you know. And my wife went on MasterChef in 2018. Again, she didn't really enjoy her corporate job, and everything's changed after she had kids. And again, it comes down to money and time, right? It wasn't about the money, it was about the time, and she was missing out pivotal moments of our kids. So after she went on MasterChef, because I'm the branding guy, I branded her up, and everybody thought she actually won, but she didn't. She came 8th. And then the reason I'm telling you that is I always said to her, so look, you're trading your time for money, right? But we need to be able to make money while we sleep. And look, everybody wants a bit of niche at home. And why is it called niche? Because her name's Nisha Parmar. So we call it niche kitchen tool. And we've been using these various gadgets because like we're real foodies. I love cooking. She loves cooking. Sometimes she might learn from me. I learn from her. Obviously, I'm going to learn from her. She's a professional chef now. That's what she does for celebrities. And then ultimately what I did is we thought this idea about 2 years ago. Let's create a product. Let's create a kitchen tool which people can use. Because I specialize in branding and all that kind of stuff. For me to get that set up was really easy. And then I got an investor involved. And the reason we created this tool is for everybody to take a little bit of niche home with them, to cook like niche.
Yeah.
Make simple things interesting. We created this tool. And we launched last December 2024. And we're only 7 months in, right? And yeah, it's a hard graft, and I'll talk about that in a second. But this is the most craziest thing, right? So my first graphic design job was working for an import-export tool company. So I used to be the in-house designer. And sometimes somehow our paths crossed again, and the owner of that business is actually my investor now.
All right, okay.
Because people will only remember you from the last impression that you left.
Yes.
So after leaving that job and then basically starting on my own agency and freelancing, we had a really good connection, and we formulated that 20 years later. And then now we're working together on this product. And the reason is everybody needs something or a product or something that going to have a residual income. Look, we're in start phase, right? And it's a hard graft, but I'm not scared of hard work, and I love it, because one of the things as well, the way my mind works is I've got to keep constantly moving.
Yeah.
And one of the guys I go to the gym with, he said, the moment you stop moving is the moment you die.
So just talk to us a little bit more about this MasterChef experience that your wife had been on. So obviously she gets put into a TV show, obviously a great experience for her, and obviously this has led to, your business now and all that sort of stuff. But what was the experience really like for you, but also your wife?
So I guess, look, end of the day, when you're with your partner or you're married, you're a team. And if you see because I'm running my business, and I'm generally a really happy guy. I'm always positive, but I would find, because it's about energy, right? Even when we met, we just gelled together, and I just loved your energy, and that's important. Why is it important? Because that's going to then develop into something great, and it's going to help you succeed in life. But if you're in a place where you're in a dark place all the time, you're not enjoying your work, you're just going there, and you become somebody that literally just goes to work, does a 9 to 5, goes to work, comes home, and you're just basically on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And it's about, how do you get off that hamster wheel? Sometimes not everybody is able to do that. But when I met my wife, and when we met in 2006, in the same year when we set the business up, is she made me this mille-feuille, right? I'm never ever had a mille-feuille in my life. And then she made me a satay chicken. I said, oh my God, your food is amazing. And then as we grew together, she started making even more dishes, to this point where people wouldn't leave my house. So we'll have a dinner party at home, right? And it's like 2, 3 in the morning, and people still haven't left, because we just love entertaining. And I said to her, I said, look, and I've been saying to her since we met, I said, you need to go on MasterChef. You need to go and stop being selfish and feeding me, and feed the world. And then one night she told me, said, oh, MasterChef, the application's open. So I said to her, I said, I was going out that night as well. I said to her, I'm not coming home tonight until I get a confirmation message from you and a screenshot of the application form being filled in. And then once that's done, I'll come home. And she did it. And you know what happened? That pivotal moment changed her life. And why did it change her life? Because I've never seen her so happy and so content, and love everything that she does. Because it comes down to my previous point. If you don't love what you do every day, it's really easy just to bring that everywhere else, because your work life and your personal life, they have to be connected, and it has to be authentic. You have to be the same as you are in work as you are when people meet you. Yeah,
I can see there's a lot of love there for your wife, and I think from what you're saying there, I think you are incredibly proud of her. But what is it really like to work with your wife on the business? Because obviously you've got your personal life, you've got, bringing up your children and all that sort of stuff, and you're also working with her on the business. So is there like some conflict there sometimes, or is it really quite a happy journey?
Sometimes they're look, end of the day, I never thought I'd be working with my wife. So sometimes I help her out with content for when she's doing some Instagram stuff, or like build her website and so on. But we kind of keep it quite split. So what would happen is in the normal 9 to 5 or like weekdays, we'll talk work. But when we're sitting down and chilling, we'll make sure we don't talk about work.
Yeah.
But that's taken a while to curate because I'm very passionate. So I'm always pushing her to say, do this, do that. Like even with this tool, I knew we needed to do it. And working with her to answer your question, yeah, it has its ups and downs, but you need to know how to kind of say, actually, you know what? Let's talk about this tomorrow. Let's have a date night. Let's talk about stuff which is not work related. Because the thing as well is what happens if you keep letting it merge, your wife becomes your business partner, and then you forgot about the love for each other and the general respect. Because remember, I have a different vision. She has a different vision. We need to come together as a team, because the key to this is team. Is that if you're not aligned in everything you do and you don't actually put barriers in place, things will end up becoming a little bit mixed up.
Yeah.
So it's fun when we're doing stuff, and sometimes it's a little bit annoying because I want to do this, but she's busy. But we just gotta, mate. The thing is, I know this sounds absurd, right? But if we have to book, if we want to talk about something, I just say let's book a meeting and talk about work at that time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. And we share calendars, apart from getting the groceries list and stuff like that, and taking the bins out, because I don't know what it is. I don't know why the men have to always take the bins out.
Yeah, they call it a blue job, mate. It's a blue job in my house, is taking the bins out.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when you think about your mission in life, you know, I'm really talking more from a personal perspective here. So what would you say is your mission in life?
So my mission in life used to be successful and like be the best version of myself every day. But my mission recently has changed. My son, Sai, it just comes down to like me, when I was really young at 12 years old, I wanted to be a designer. That's all I could see. So my son, all he wants to become is a pilot. So my mission is to make sure he becomes a pilot. And that's it. There's nothing else. Like whatever I have to do, work hard. That's my goal. Like, you know, some people say my goal is to buy a big house. I'm gonna live abroad. My actual mission is to make sure he becomes a pilot, because I understand what it's like to have a passion on what you want to do, and it's really easy just to forget about it. And I don't want him to fail.
So our podcast is founded upon honesty and how testing times have impacted our lives. So away from business, can you tell us about a challenging time in your life that made you who you are today?
I would say the most challenging time in my life, and it's okay for me to be open, right? Because that's what it's supposed to be. And I haven't actually spoke about this publicly. Is I had a first cousin, and we spent a lot of time together, and then he basically committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And he was quite a naughty. He was quite a naughty boy. He used to get himself in a lot of trouble, and I used to always be there. And he's been in jail and everything like that. And I was there for him, even picking him up and guiding him. And I actually helped him. So when he was not on the straight and narrow, and he basically, and this is before he committed suicide, he got himself a job. He got engaged and everything. And then I don't know what happened. I think he just generally wasn't happy with everything. And he was the type of person that you always wanted more. And this is the thing, is it just never stops. If you're never content or grateful for what you have at this point in life, when are you ever going to be grateful for it? So that was a very pivotal moment. Why was it? Because I was semi-blamed for not being there for him and not helping him get out of this, because I was his closest person. But he actually, once he got engaged and all this kind of stuff, he moved out and moved in a different area. He cut me out of his life. And I was his closest person to his life. I'm the one that helped him get to where, like, directly, like, you know, sometimes, like, I was his younger cousin, right? But I would always pick him up and say, well, why are you doing this? This is bad. Don't do this. And then he would fix up and understand. But no one else would have these conversations with him. And then to this point, I couldn't even, I got cut out of my family and the life and everything. And then I couldn't even attend his funeral. And that was the hardest point, because someone that you've grown up with, someone that you spend every single weekend with, someone that you speak to every single day, you literally just get cut out like a pair of scissors. But I thought, actually, you know what? All right, maybe that is our time done together. I can't dwell on that. I need to keep moving. What can I do? And that same time that happened, I met Nisha, love of my life. And obviously we've been married now 17 going into 18. Hope she's not listening to this, because I'm sure that's right. And then everything just started falling into place, because that same year I met Nisha is the same year I set my business up. And that was the same year he committed suicide. So, no, sorry, it was 2 years later he committed suicide. And the year he committed suicide is when we got engaged. So that changed everything, because then I realized, you know what? People are taking my kindness from my weakness. The way I live my life is I like to constantly always help somebody. Something like, for example, the person I go to the gym with, he does boot camp training with me, right? He messaged me, so look, Sach, can you help me do my website, or can you help me with my branding? I said, Kat, his name's Catalan. I said, Kat, I'll do anything for you. Do you know why? Because you made me join your boot camp, and I come with you every single day, and you give me your time to do this, and you don't even charge me, and you've helped me lose 10 kilos. So I'm grateful for that. From the way I can help you is I'll help you do all of this, and I'm not going to charge you, because he thought I was going to charge him.
Yeah, it's interesting you saying about your cousin, because there's obviously some wounds there that I think a lot of people would find hard to sort of get over. I think, you know, you mentioned about being cut out of your family and not being able to go to a funeral and areas such as that. So how much of an impact does that have on you? You know, this is your family at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I would say, and talking openly, because this is what it's about, and that's what the question is it still affects me to this day, right? Because you always think, actually, you know what? If I'd able to go to his funeral, then I could have had that closure. So I've never really had that closure, because a funeral is closure for everybody, right? But when you can't actually attend, and like, this is the crazy thing, right? All of my, we were so connected. All of my friends and his friends, we all knew each other, because we spent so much time together. I would hang out with his friends, he would hang out with my friends. So all of my friends went to his funeral, and they're ringing me when I'm there, say, Sach, where are you? And the only way that I could get closure is I had to do my own little ceremony at a temple with my parents and Nisha as well. And that was the only way to get closure. But also, even to this day, it's when something like that happens and you don't know the reason for it, someone needs to be the scapegoat. And maybe there's something that had to happen in my life for me to be where I am today.
Well, do you think, you know, you mentioned obviously that there's lots of blame put on you. You know, I don't think that's the case with, you know, in a sense that, you know, it's not your fault, you know, without really knowing the context of it. You know, people are in charge of their own lives at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But from your point of view, do you think you could have done anything more? I think it's a really hard thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. You know the thing as well is, like, for example, is, you know, that saying, don't judge a book by its cover, right?
Yeah.
And people see all these guys, or like, look, a good example is you see a comedian on stage, right? Really funny, have you in belly laughs and so on. But when you meet them in real life, because there's that saying that comedians are the most depressed people in the world, because they're out there giving all their positive energy and making people laugh. But when they're out of that public light, they're quite quiet and timid, but you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah. So
I would say, look, I don't think there was anything I can do, and there's nothing you can do. Don't look, if you have a friend or you have a colleague, whatever it is, and you can see that they're not right, there's something wrong with them, you just start a conversation. Because look, in the UK, we're so conservative over here, especially London. If you say hello to somebody on the tube, they look at you in a weird way. Obviously, when you're up north, it's different. But like, even sometimes go to the coffee shop, get a coffee, and ask that person how they are.
Yeah.
This is an example. I went to an event at a hotel, right? And then when I walked in, there's a lady says, "Oh, how can I help?" I said, "How are you doing? How's your day?" She took taken aback from it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you want to know how I'm feeling? And then try it. You see how many people that don't actually ask other people how are they doing? Because sometimes, you know what? I've fed the homeless. When I see a homeless person, look, I've even taken my kids down to Charing Cross on a Friday. Like, go and experience it. If you're ungrateful and you think you're having a bad time, go and see these people who have nowhere to live and they don't even have food to put in their belly. They're on the poverty line. And why am I saying that? Sometimes if you see a homeless person, you don't know what they've been through to go there. Everybody thinks, oh, they're in drugs. Sometimes a homeless person they've got onto the streets because they've come from abusive family. They've lost all their money. They've got no one to talk to. Sometimes they just want someone to say, "How are you doing?" And sometimes, you know, and I think everybody should do this, right? You know, when you go to a restaurant, right, and especially a curry house, whatever it is, and there's always loads of leftover food. You say, "I don't want," and they ask you, "Oh, would you like to take this home?" We will say, "No, take it home in a brown bag, carry it around with you, and I can guarantee you in London, you will see somebody that will need, that's hungry, that will be so grateful for that meal."
Yeah.
Obviously, make sure you take utensils, yeah, because
yes,
I did that, I had to pop to McDonald's and get a fork and knife or whatever. But and this is the thing as well, we forgot about being human and we forgot about the basics of that. And this is why how I live my life is whatever you're going through in life, there's always someone that's worse off than you.
Do you know what, Sachin? I really like your approach to life. I think it's really refreshing. I think it's really I think it can be really grounding. I think for your children, I think they'll really appreciate that when they grow up. You know, you've taken them to places and seen, you know, different things that, you know, hopefully they won't ever go through, you know, in that sense, but they're aware of it. Do you see what I mean? So I really like your approach to life. I think it's really refreshing.
And you know what, just to add to that as well, right, is, you know, with parenting, I'm not a parent, I'm not expert in parenting, right? Me and my wife are quite free, and we like to create loads of different things with our wives, I mean with our kids, right? But you need to let your kids learn how to fail, but fail gracefully.
Yeah.
Because if you keep mollycoddling them and keep saying, "Oh, don't do that, don't do this," they're gonna live their life like that. They're gonna be scared of life. Like, for example, like people that live in like Singapore, Dubai, and so on, they live in such a sheltered life. If they come to London, it's crazy here. They don't even know how to take the bins out. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about making sure your kids understand life. And you know what? Wherever it is, you just need to learn how to be a really nice person.
Yes, you do. I completely agree with that. I think it's that saying that goes, treat others how you want to be treated. And I really firmly believe in that.
And you know what, to add to that, if you go to a restaurant, you can really judge a person's character about the way they talk to service staff.
Yes, you can. Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. Yeah. So Sachin, just to kind of end this episode, it's been a really good one. A little trivia before the end of the episode where we talk about some of your most favourite things in a quick fire round. So this is a quick fire round. So are you ready?
Absolutely, let's go.
Perfect. Right. So favourite food?
Pan-Asian.
Nice. Favourite band or artist from the world of music?
Okay, I've got quite a few. Coldplay, Chase and Status, Kano, Ludovico, and Top Can.
Nice. I think when I last spoke to you, you said that you went to an Usher concert as well. So is Usher on there as well?
Mate, my list goes on. I listen to so many different. I listen to like Mexican music. I listen to heavy. It just depends on my mood, but I had to keep it short.
Yeah. Favorite TV program or film?
Back to the Future 1 and 2.
Good choice. What about TV program?
I love. Oh my God! There's so many that I've seen, but I love Top Boy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's really good. It completely bypassed me, but I completed the series or all of the series within a couple of weeks on Netflix. Just binge watched it, but it was such a good show. And I don't know why Channel 4 cancelled it after the first season. Do you know that? Because it was Channel 4 and then it was Netflix.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know. It's always money, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, can I add Mandalorian as well? Yeah, because I love that. But anyway,
yes. Yeah.
I got loads of lists. This is a very, very difficult thing for me to do, to be fair.
Yeah. Favorite place in the world or holiday destination?
Maldives, and my dream destination is Japan.
Okay. So is it dream destination because you haven't been there, or is
I
that where
haven't
you want
been
to go?
there. It's on my list.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite famous person?
I don't really have one because everyone is just human, right? But I would love to meet Kano. He's just so inspiring. And why is that? Because when I set my business up, and I've come from growing up with that type of music, I used to listen to his album on repeat every single day for about a year, which is crazy. But I just find him fascinating that he's come from Council Estate, UK rapper to now being on Top Boy, and he's just amazing.
Yeah. Biggest pet peeve?
Lazy people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Favorite household chore?
I love ironing.
You love ironing? Okay.
Yeah. You know, even to this point, I bought myself this steam iron which you hold in your hand. It's absolutely amazing. But anyway, we can't talk about it too much.
Okay. What do you think when you look in the mirror?
I think I could always be a better version of myself every day.
Okay. How long do you spend getting ready in the morning?
Between 30 to 35 minutes.
Okay. What inspires you on a daily basis?
Passion, energy, and consistency.
When did you last cry?
I would say it was last year when I was going through pivotal change in my life, when everything came to the forefront, and I realized that I wasn't present as I thought as I was with my family, and I was starting to lose control. Why did I say that? Because I got in this really bad habit, because it takes 66 days to form a new habit, right? So I was like, well, because I started listening to all these books, reading. I read a lot of books about business, life, and so on. And then I joined the 5 a.m. club. But what I didn't realize is something else had to give. So, you know, all these American stuff that we listen to, 5 a.m. club is amazing. I ended up working about 5 o'clock, but I couldn't last more than 8:30 at night. So I got into this really bad rut where I'll wake up really early, get all this stuff done, and then ended up spending less time, because when it came to family time, I would just fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I realized, actually, you know what? That's when I cried, because I looked at myself in my life. I looked at myself and what I've been doing over the last 5 years, thinking, actually, you know what? I'm losing myself. I need to reconnect with myself again.
Yeah.
The way I reconnected, I did they call it a yatra. I did a cycle trip for charity from Ahmedabad to Bhuj this year, and it helped me refine myself and reconnect with myself, because it's important to be reconnected with your soul, because everything, once you do that connection, everyone around you will start being happy again.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Don't help people if they're not willing to put in the hard work and be consistent.
Okay. 3 guests you would invite to a dinner party, and why?
Okay. It has to be Kano. Has to be Lewis Howes, because I've been listening to Lewis Howes for such a long time. Absolutely amazing podcast. And it has to be Mark Cavendish.
Okay. So
really random, right?
Yeah.
Kano, because I want him to spit some bars for me.
Yeah.
In real life. And I actually want to see how tall he is in real life. And I want to know what kind of food he likes, because absolutely, if it's a dinner party, I'm cooking. Lewis Howes, because he's really helped guide me. I listen to his podcast and I love all the people, and I just find him so inspiring, his story. And Mark Cavendish, because I love cycling. Cycling is one of the things that is my true passion. I've done so much cycling. I just want to meet a great and just go all geeky and just talk about bikes.
Yeah.
So talk about music, talk about life, passion, and business, and talk about my main love in my life, which is cycling.
Yeah.
Those 3 people I would have.
Yeah, it's a good dinner party, that. And then finally, what makes a good person behind their brand?
Someone who has the desire never to give up and is always willing to stay hungry and do whatever it takes to win. I've got one thing to add. Sorry.
Go on.
There's a quote I want to add. I want to finish off with this, right? You must not let anyone or anything define your limits because of where you come from. Your only limit is your soul.
There you go.
And that quote, bizarre, is from a Disney film called Ratatouille.
Is it? I didn't know that.
So if you go watch Disney films, right, they're the most inspiring films ever. Watch Lion King, watch Ratatouille, watch any film, they've got some beautiful quotes in there. And if you listen to them and if you're prepared to take in that information, you'll start hearing it and it will connect with your life.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's the end of the trivia round and the end of the episode. So, look, Sachin, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. When I first met you, I knew you'd be a great guest to come on and share your life stories. So you've only just proved that. So, yeah, thank you for your time. So perhaps you'd just like to end by telling people where they can find your businesses online and, yeah, how they can interact with you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name's Sachin Parmar, not Palmer, it's Parmar. And Sachin, like the famous cricketer, Sachin. You can find me on Niche by Nisha, but it's Niche by Nisha, Nisha.com. And you can also find my creative agency that specializes in hospitality, graphickitchen.co.uk.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Sachin.
So that's it for this episode of People Behind Brands. If you like what you heard today, do yourself a favour, subscribe to our exclusive content now and follow us on our social media when you search People Behind Brands podcast or at podcast PBB. Join us next time for a brand new guest as we explore more life lessons from the world of business. We'll see you soon. Ta-da!